For a lot of companies, cybersecurity governance, risk, and compliance, or GRC, is viewed as a massive drain. It produces endless regulations, stacks of paperwork, and strict rules that eat up budgets. The root of the problem is a language barrier. Board members sit in meeting rooms discussing market growth and operating with confidence. Down the hall, the IT department is talking about firewalls, patch management, and threat vectors. Because these two groups are speaking past each other, companies often default to a flawed strategy. They purchase expensive security tools, bolt them onto the network, and hope for the best. It is exactly like hiring a team of heavily armed security guards to stand outside a building, but failing to tell them what is inside, or who they should be watching out for. Which brings up a critical question. Can a governance program actually succeed without a clear security architecture connecting the rules on paper to the reality on the servers? When an organization approves a security budget without that underlying architecture, the system is flawed from day one. Cybersecurity functions as a blind cost rather than a protective asset. SABSA is a translation engine designed to structure exactly how boardroom strategy connects to the server room. The process starts at the top with the conceptual layer, where the board explicitly defines business goals. What data are we protecting and why? In the conceptual layer, GRC professionals translate boardroom objectives into enforceable governance standards and structured security policies. Next, in the logical layer, security architects design the specific services required to enforce the rules, like identity management and data privacy protocols. At this point, we are halfway through the framework, and no one has touched a piece of software yet. Moving through these first three layers ensures that security begins as a strategic business conversation. Now we drop into the physical layer, where engineers select the exact hardware and software tools needed to execute the strategy. Then, in the component layer, technicians write specific lines of code and set individual server configurations. The actions taken here are granular. This layer represents tasks as small as flipping a single permissions toggle on one employee laptop. Wrapping around this entire framework is the service management layer, monitoring all other layers to maintain compliance. This vertical integration allows you to trace a bottom-layer technical configuration directly back to a CEO's strategic objective. With every technical decision anchored to a business requirement, it becomes significantly harder for redundant or purposeless tools to stay in the budget. This unbroken chain of logic provides a new framework for evaluating the security budget. Security functions as the structural foundation for expansion, providing the stability needed to scale operations with confidence. The modern cybersecurity GRC professional operates as a structural engineer, moving beyond the traditional role of a policy writer or compliance officer. Buying a mountain of expensive security tools accomplishes very little. Without the architecture to connect those tools, a security system remains fractured. By deploying SABSA, an organization maps its business strategy directly into its technical stack. This systematic approach replaces chaotic spending with a resilient architecture that supports the company's forward momentum.